Which dreams?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Um, so let's start first by stating the obvious. And I know for my other class and for the other group, it was very clear for them as well. Given the fact that our beloved Celidia uh, transitioned and ascended at the same time and left the planet at the age of 83, the beautiful age of 83, many of our ascension bodies, part of our group or collective who's trying to ascend, are not consciously admitting to themselves that there is a fear in their mind that just because we are all attempted to ascend, that they're going to exit the planet. And I need to talk about this. It is a possibility, and I'm going to explain to you why it's a possibility. First off, this is not my first time around this rodeo. I've done in 2012, in this lifetime, although I've done this before in other past lives, in 2012, my energy, because of the torsion field and the work I was doing, the power increase started for me. By 2013, I was lifted so high up that I had the fortunate experience of it was not in a meditation or contemplation experience or a dream. It was me just walking in my apartment. And as I turn around one corner trying to walk, all of a sudden I astrally project outside of my body. And I saw the vastness and the immensity of my real body. And the pull to leave the planet when you experience this is very real, because it felt like me on 3D on Earth, standing in the apartment. This happened in about a few seconds, maybe no more than 30 seconds. But it was a profound experience for me. Because I held onto the table and I'm like, what's happening? As this was going on. So I was aware of my physical body, but I was seeing and experiencing something else. That singularity of expression, which is my physical body, I felt like I was entombed, like buried with earth and soil on top of me, like I was entombed. And that the vastness of the immensity that I was seeing was liberation. And I wanted to be liberated. And I began to say to myself, and moreover, I felt like there were multiple other places where I made promises. I took oath, and I made certain commitments that I have yet to fulfill. And I felt there was a great desire for me to leave where I was to go into the next adventure. And I want you to know at that moment, my higher self reminded me, because my leg began to buckle, and I began to feel that I was leaving the planet. There was nothing scary about it. There was no fear. In fact, there was jubilation and joy because it was liberating me. My leg began to buckle, and I began to think to myself, I'm going to fall down. I'm going to fall to the floor, and I will simply fall and die in this physical realm, but I will be liberated and go somewhere else. And at that moment, my God self, my monad, said to me, but Pierre, you haven't fulfilled your promise on earth. And then I realized this is true. And then the whole thing reversed back, and I came back into my physical body. I want you to know that as you're beginning to ascend and elevate, and the energy increase is fully anchored into you, you're going to experience that liberation, that the full understanding of who you really are, your entire energetic, the immensity of your energetic presence. And you are going to be faced with a choice. You can go into it. There is no judgment on how you choose. Celidia made a choice. There is no judgment. You can choose to stay, or you can fulfill and continue to work here, or you can choose to move on. It is up to you. Because again, the evolution of consciousness comes, the most important part that it comes with is free choice. I wanted to have that conversation and make people aware that it doesn't mean that you have to leave the planet, but in the event that you got to that choice and you decide that's what you want, go ahead. No one is going to judge you. And we need to be very clear about this. The path that I'm teaching you is not a path in which you ascend, and the moment you ascend, you leave the planet. That choice is going to be yours. The point of us doing group work together was for us to remain here until the galactic equator crossing, to help anchor and become the opening and the gates through which ascension and for basically the evolution of consciousness can happen. Because without us doing this, there exists other portal and gateways from the planetary level into the solar, from the solar into the galactic, from the galactic into the universal, and universal, the multi-universal, all the way back to God. The point is that the part from the upper atmospheric level that grounds onto the earth is shut down because of the fear and the lack that exists on earth. And it is through us standing up, having responded to a call. I know I did, because that's the part that my monad reminded me. You came here because you responded to a call to help rescue, to orchestrate a collective rescue. So you need to fulfill that part first before you move on. And I was reminded of this. And then immediately I was like, okay, it's not yet my time. I need to finish this first. But I want you to know, the moment this is done, I'm out of here. I'm serious about this. The moment I've done my part, I'm not staying here because there are other things I need to do.
I'm holding on to your foot. I'm out of here with you.
But what about the new Earth? Wouldn't that be a lovely place to establish?
I don't know what the promises are that I've made and where exactly, but I know they were important. Maybe they were on the new Earth. Maybe they were in 5D. I don't know. It wasn't long enough for me to ascertain all these details.
Mhm.
You understand? Maybe it's the new Earth. Maybe maybe I'm not going just to 5D. Maybe I'm going to 6D or 7D. I don't know.
Mhm.
Understand? But wherever it is, that next destination, I'm going.
Now, this is a physical person in a physical body. When dear Solidia moved on, and what dimension is she now in?
She's definitely in a 5D world.
Okay, so you can still ascend and not be in a body.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, but in order to go to the new Earth or the future Earth, you have to be in a body.
Well, in order for us to lead humanity into it, we have to be here because we have to have ground
Right.
part of the network that is not connected to Earth. And for that to happen, we have to be in physical existence. We cannot be like Celidia in the spirit world.
So how much of you said it's choice, but is there I don't know how to call this, like a timing when we are transcending, or we are ascending, or we're just passing on. Is there a time for that, or is that all up to us?
I don't, it depends on when okay, it's an individual thing because although we are ascending collectively, we're doing a group ascension effort, being led by Lord Melchizedek, of course. But we're all separate individuals. We're not gonna ascend on Thursday, December, 27. To give, it's gonna happen when it happens. So when each one of us will hit the energy increase at different time, but each one of us will have a customized experience of our the totality of who we are. And when that happens, you will be presented with a choice.
So it is just a readiness issue and not a predetermined date when we are passing.
No.
So Pierre, that means that you ascended already?
Well, I stopped it. Yes,
Oh.
it began to happen. At least the first level, which is the energy increase. Okay.
Right.
And this is the conversation I need to have with you today to make you understand. If you're ascending alone, it is extremely disorienting because you have to die in the 3D world. You have to release all of the connection and attachment. You have to have everything in 3D. And you have to allow yourself to lean into an awareness or an emerging consciousness that is not solid, that is not verified by anything, and that no one else can mirror back to you and tell you it's okay. It generates a tremendous amount of fear. While I was doing this alone, I realized also something else at that moment when I saw my full spiritual body. I have been trying to do this since Egypt, trying to lead humanity into an elevated state. When I was Pharaoh, that's what I was trying to do by rebuilding a new city, a new capital. But the mistake I made is that I was trying to do it by me first ascending and then leading everyone else. That was a mistake. In this lifetime, I finally learned it to do it differently, which is what I did at that moment, is that I decided I can't make the same mistakes I've been making for almost 4,500 years. I'm going to link my ascension to everyone in my inner core group, not the rest of the planet, but the people that I'm close to, that I'm working with, that I'm trying to lead. Instead of me ascending and then somehow corralling them to come in, I'm going to link myself. I will not elevate unless they all elevate with me, which is what we're doing now.
I have another question.
Yes.
So you say we're going to have a choice, but
Yeah.
is the choice ascending with the body still here? Because we are going to ascend, right? And we're not just going to ascend and exit out. We're going to ascend with the physical body first.
No, you're going to have a choice because the doorway, for us to ascend with our full body, it's something that will happen at the galactic equator crossing. Because or if that were to happen, you have to be really, really, and that's what I'm leading you into. That's the point of the training that Lord Melchizedek has been giving us. It's full and complete body ascension with all of our bodies together.
Right. And then he talked about, because that the first level is coming up and it's close to some people. So then some people in the group, including most likely you, are going to experience a full body ascension of level 1. Is that correct? In the very near future?
No. The full body ascension, okay, the level 1 ascension, which is the power
It's
increase.
just the energy increase?
It's just an energy increase.
Okay, so some people, so you most likely and a few others are going to experience a first level, which is the power increase
You
or
too,
energy.
all of us will experience it. That's my point.
Yes, but I mean, because you talked about, I think my Lord Melchizedek, or you had a dream. I can't remember what
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
was.
The
That
dream.
it was within the
Uh,
next 2 months or
yes,
something.
yes, correct. That's correct.
So that's going to happen for some of us within in the near future, right?
It's going to happen to you very shortly thereafter because we're doing this together. This is the power. This is the power of group
Of the
work.
group energy, yeah. So we're going to ascend, like the first level we're going to experience very soon.
Yes.
Oh, yay.
And it means that you're going to face this test.
Yeah. Oh, we are.
Yes.
Oh,
That
wow.
means you're going to face this
Well,
test.
that's fascinating. So you know what I've been experiencing? I wanted to ask you about that. I forgot last time. That it didn't happen this week. I think it was last week or the week before. I was walking around, and it's just this weird. Sometimes I felt it in the past too, but this was so intense for like a whole week, or at least a few days that week. I felt like I was in a Truman Show, and that everything was staged and everything was fake. It's like, and I felt like I'm not, this is just all an illusion.
Yeah.
And it was so intense. Like, I was
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
what on earth am I doing here
Yeah.
in this lie?
Yeah.
So, what is that about?
This is part of the ascension process. That's why I created the WhatsApp group for us.
Oh, wow.
Because you can this is part of the reason why I'm saying I decided in this lifetime to do a group ascension effort because unless somebody else, because other people have reported the same thing. This
Oh, okay.
Marilyn reported something today where she had a thing where she felt the world was pixelated and everything fell down.
Wow.
Ursula was saying, I felt something similar, but I can't describe it. We're all feeling it because we're
Mm,
together.
we're ascending, yeah.
And part of it is for you to realize that the 3D reality, the veil becomes so thin,
It becomes so thin, yeah.
and you begin to
That's,
realize the futility and the lies that are connected to all of this.
that's exactly how it felt. And I was like,
And it's
what?
scary, it's terrifying.
What am I doing here? It's just
Well,
like
and,
so
and it's all,
profound.
that's why you want to leave the planet. That's exactly right. That's why you
Yeah,
want to leave.
yeah, got
The
it.
next step is that why am I even here? If I have a choice to leave, I'm going to leave because this is all a lie.
Yeah,
You understand?
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're all going to face this in short order.
yeah,
I'm talking months.
We
yeah.
chose to come here knowing probably at the point when we did make that decision that it was illusion, that it was a lie, but that there were all of however many billion people there are that are trapped in it.
Yes, this is something you may know, but does your emotional body understand this at this moment?
Of course not.
Do you understand? That's You're completely right. But when you're going through them emotionally, you're like a little girl. You're frightened. Like, what the hell's going on? All right?
Could be a dweller on the threshold
That's
moment.
exactly the point. The next thing to understand is that it's a zerapin. It's a glass ceiling that we have to break.
Mm,
It's a fear. And I want to explain this in a way for us to understand. The Zerapin is not just a smaller version of God or in our relationship to a higher power. A Zerapin, which is true, it's a shield, it protects you, and it gives you a smaller version of God at that moment in 3D that you can comprehend. But if you're trying to ascend, the Zerapin will do everything in its power to hold you back, including generating fear and making you feel like Diana reported uh, uh, um, um, in the other class that she felt like she was going to die if she continued this process. And she was afraid because she was going to leave her. She said, I was not afraid of death, but I'm afraid my family, my son, my husband.
Was that in a dream or just out of the
No,
blue?
she had that awareness during a contemplation.
Oh,
And that's a zerapin. That's the way the shield is trying to hold you back from ascending. And what you have to do is that you have to keep proceeding and moving forward, even though these fears are showing up. The fears are real. They're real. And you have to still say, I am still moving forward. I am still realizing that it is a therapy. And unless you have a group of people who have gone through the same thing, who are communicating, and you know, the group and everything else, it's by design that I created it this way, so that we can have the support. If you're alone and by yourself, you will not understand this. It's gonna, for some, many of you will stop halfway. The therapy will win. You have to keep plowing ahead and moving forward and saying, I know better. I understand that this is a fear. And when I was doing this alone, the fears showed up. They were nightmares. They were experiences in which I felt, if you're having nightmares or dreams that somebody is after you, or somebody's trying to invade you, you're not safe, you have to lock your door, in your dream, you're calling the police. All of this is related to one thing and one thing alone. The police that you're calling to try to keep you safe, that's the defense and the protection of the therapy. The invader that's trying to come in, that's trying to get you, that whatever that invader, that thing is, it's the new awareness or the expansion into a higher level of consciousness. And the therapy will try to tell you that that awareness is an invader, an intruder, that's going to try to kill you and hurt you, and at all costs, you should not let it in. It happened to me. And it took me something like almost 4 months to get that's what it was. I was in fear. I was terrorized. That's why I'm saying ascending alone is scary. Because I was literally terrorized, and it's a dweller. It's not just a therapy, it's a dweller. And the test was so strong that I was sleeping with a baseball bat. I could have sworn that somebody was outside my door every night trying to get me. It was so strong. I would wake up shaking from the dream. It was so vivid. And I would check the door and make sure the latch is on, that everything. I was putting chairs against the door. I'm like, somebody's trying to come to get me. And the moment I understood what it was, I never had the dream again. Everything stopped. So the therapy is going to create intense experience. And the closer you are to the breaking it, and by the way, it's because we're ascending and we're moving not just to one dimension, now to two, you're going to have multiple therapy.
My dream was, I don't know, I thought somebody was attacking me actually in my dream, because I have crazy people after me, as you know. For too many years. But it's this, and it happened a few times. This thing starts wrapping around me and becomes envelopes me, and then it's like this abyss that I get lost in, and I'm like stuck and I can't get out, and I'm like trying to, you know how you get stuck, you're trying to shout but you can't.
Yep.
That's how it feels, and then I finally shout and wake up, but it's just so scary. So I don't know what that is.
Well, one of the things I've been doing for over 2 months now, knowing all the ups and downs that are connected to this ascension process, I've been doing this Archangel Michael's sword with the candles
Me too.
nonstop.
Yeah, me too. Every day. I mean, I've been doing that for a long time, honestly, every day, because, like I said, I have, yeah.
Because that will give me the light.
And it helps, actually. When I forget, crazy things happens. Yeah.
It tremendously helps.
Tremendously helps, yeah.
Okay, because the Archangel Michael sword creates a ring pass knot around me, and when it
Yeah.
creates, I am illumined. I'm not scared. I have a sense of peace and serenity. And
It's when I'm tired and I forget, crazy
yes,
stuff happens,
what I'm
right?
doing right now, I just bought more candle because I was running.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I finished the series this morning. Tomorrow I'm setting the next set. Every 7 days I start with a candle. I keep doing it.
Yeah, me too.
Is this something that would be advisable if you're not experiencing any of these terrors?
If you're not experiencing it,
No, I don't think so.
you don't need to.
Okay.
You don't need to. And so for me, again, given where I grew up and the fears that I experienced as was a kid, there were so many boogeymen in my childhood that these overlay mechanisms are still part of my subconscious lexicon. And I have to figure out a way to clear all of that out of the way, all that chatter, all that noise, okay? And bring myself to elevate into higher emotions and higher feelings and all that. And this has been tremendously helpful. And the more I do this, I had a dream about a month ago about a curse that was put on since my grandmother's generation.
Mm.
And it allowed me to see the dream and to see what was done and to extinguish it and to turn it off.
Yeah.
And it was through this prayer, because
Yes.
I would not have that clarity and that insight otherwise. So I'm just saying, go inside your heart. If this is something that you begin to realize is necessary, you might want to start it. I knew it was necessary for me 2 months ago. I started doing it. And I'm still doing it because I don't feel I'm past, the haunted forest yet. Let's be, I'm not
Oh
past
my
that.
God, seriously.
You know, I'm, I'm still moving to that territory.
Me too.
And I'll be honest with you, it's not just that. It's because also astrologically, I shared that with you in the other class, the past 4 years, some rather unusual astrological configuration. I'm a Capricorn, and Saturn was retrograde on Capricorn for almost 3 years, if not 4. And so I faced a tremendous amount of challenge. But in addition to that, the north node of the moon is still in my chart, which blocked the light of the sun for reaching me and reaching my entire astrological chart, creating therefore a dimming and an ebbing of everything that's this configuration of thank God, Saturn went now into Pisces. It moved. It's no longer in Capricorn, and this North Node situation is resolved. It's ebbing out. I'm in the shadow period of it. It's ebbing out. So I'm beginning to feel better. There was a lot of. Here is the thing I want you to understand. The past 4 years were the most challenging challenge I've ever been. But I would not change anything I would not change any of it for no reason whatsoever. Because I learn so much about myself and I discover depth and heights. I discovered resiliency. I discover strength. I discover power that I didn't know I had. And if the status quo was going on, I would have never tapped into any of this. Moreover, the galactic equator crossing of 2030, 2031 is going to be this. What I went through is child play compared to those 3 days of darkness. I needed that experience to season me a little bit, to toughen me up. And I don't regret any of it. Huh.
Well, I hate to say this, Pierre, and I'm not an astrologer, but what I picked up from Monty, the north node of the moon is always in your chart. It's just moving to a different sign. You said it was,
It was yes. It was right on top of my Capricorn. Yes, correct.
oh, okay. So it's just moving
Right.
into a new
In
position.
a new position, because another one is not necessarily maleficent. It depends on where it falls.
And what other else is going on there, right?
Exactly. Everything that was a resistance, surgery, all kinds of things, health-wise, all kinds of situations present themselves to create doubt and fear. And it was a big test for me. But thank God it's fading out. But it taught me so much.
Mine was the past 18 months. It was insane.
Yes.
hardest months of my life. So it was like one thing after another. Oh my God, it was insane, honestly. At times I was like, if I didn't have the tools that I have and the faith that I have,
Yes, there
I
is.
would not be here.
Yes,
And
there
I
is.
felt so much compassion for people who are weaker and don't have the support that I had. And I have so many tools, right? I was
Yes.
like, wow, I get why people leave and choose to leave, you know? So it's just it's rough times.
Yes.
And a lot of people choose to just exit out.
Yes. Absolutely.
I would say probably all of us have had those horrible years of trials and stressors and traumas. I certainly have as well. Not necessarily think that I handled them all very well, but I got through them, so I'm still here. I
Yeah.
guess that says something for a certain resilience, perhaps wisdom that comes from it, even if not everything was handled in hindsight the way I would like to have handled it, because I now have more perspective. But that's part of growth, I think. That right? You're not required to know everything when you're going through it, but you just keep
Well,
going.
when you're going through it, if you're smart enough or if you're doing work on yourself, you get the lessons, thankfully. And yeah, like Pierre said,
Yeah.
I would not want to change anything either.
Well, I might like to change your views.
Well, you
But,
want to know something, Janice? For me, the biggest lesson, I have more compassion and more empathy.
yeah, me too. That's big. Yeah,
That's true.
true. Same here.
People who are going through the same
Oh
thing
my God.
I'm
Yeah,
feeling,
big
I
compassion.
understand them. I
I
have
didn't understand them before. I was
God
thinking,
for
how can you
myself.
be so depressed that you want
Yes,
to? I didn't understand people. I really didn't. And now I do.
yes. I have much more empathy and compassion.
100%.
And I understand why people make mistakes because I did too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You understand how someone, you're like, how, from the outside, how can they not do this? This is simple. You should be. There are times where the situation is so overwhelming, and this happened to me over the past 4 years. You know exactly intellectually what you're supposed to happen, but you're simply incapable emotionally and psychologically of making a simple phone call to end something or to terminate something or to move on. You're completely incapacitated.
Yeah.
Having that perspective is helping me understand why people who find themselves in certain situation and you're from the outside, you're like, it's easy. Why can't you?
Yeah.
You
It's
did
not
me
easy.
before. Now I understand.
Yeah.
I want to switch the conversation a little bit. Uh, and I want to tell you about two dreams that I have had over the past 2 days. The first dream, this is what they're both wild, okay? So buckle up. I'm just letting you know. The first dream is that I am with a bunch of students in a school setting. They are all young adults, and they are protesting against something. It kind of reminded me when I was at Columbia and studying there, we had protested. There's a part of me that can be very militant. And I can lose myself in the militancy and when I feel I have a sense of defending the weak and being righteous. And if I feel that's not being done, I could get lost very easily and become, and the demon goddess inside of me comes in and I try to level everything out, okay? To so-called, you know, uh, do the right thing. So I was involved in the protests because Columbia University had been a lot of money invested in South Africa, and a lot of the funding, not funding, but the money that the Columbia had were invested and we wanted Colombia to divest from South Africa. And we succeeded, okay? So it reminded me of this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden there was security or whomever that were coming for us to stop us from doing what we were doing. We, as the student that were protesting, kept on retreating inside this building, and we kept going into the higher stories. Apparently, if we went to the roof, we could have found an exit. When we got to the roof, there was a vortex on top of the roof, and spaceship came down to pick us up and to allow us to escape. Now, they were not flying saucer in circular like thing, but they were shaped more like a stingray, okay, kind of shape. And they were small, on the small side. Many of my companions that were there entered these things. They open up and people just enter them. And when you enter them, it kind of, the seat kind of reclined and you kind of laid back, like almost horizontal. Not perfectly horizontal, but almost horizontal. And you actually floated when you sat in it. I entered one and my sister was next to me, but her feet were next to my head and her head was over there. And so we were opposite each other. And we are kind of cramped and connected to each other. And our path remained open. And somebody said, "Why are you not going? Everybody, you have to escape quickly. The gate is going to close. You have to escape quickly." And I said, "I'm waiting for a friend. This is a family friend. I'm waiting for her to come in." And then somebody said, "Oh, she already escaped. She already left." And then we closed it. There was a driver, an alien being, not from this earth, was driving the shuttle, whatever that thing was. And the next thing I know, we tried to go to the gate to escape. And there were all of these women dressed in black that were witches that started shutting down the gate. I saw the woman who was leading it. She was in her 60s, blonde, another blonde, redhead, kind of like gingerish looking, but with a black robe, and they were all wearing black, and they started doing something to shut down the passage. And we're the only group shuttle that was left behind. Then the driver said, "I have another way." And he opened another port, went a different direction, and went back in time to 1943. In which instance, there was a man who was apparently a walk-in or somebody sent by the same alien race in 1943. And when we arrived to him, he was maybe in his 60s, 70s, with gray mustache and gray hair. And he said, "You're late." Oh no, sorry, that's not what he said. He said, "You're actually 7 hours earlier than I was expecting." Like he knew we were coming. Like for whatever reason, he might have been entangled with us. He knew we were coming, so he said, "You are 7 hours earlier than I thought." And he said, "Enter," and he gave us a different ship, and he said, "Enter into this one and escape." And then we escaped, and I woke up from the dream. That was the first dream. I'm going to get to I'm saying both dream, and I will go into an analysis of both of them in a second. This morning, now the thing about that, these dreams happen in the middle of the night, and typically for me I either have to I have to say the dream out loud out of my mouth, or write it down in order for me to remember all the details. The second dream was, I was in the peak top of a mountain, and there was smoke covered everywhere. And I was inside, when I was in Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps, I was in a Swiss chalet for a family gathering and dinner. it reminded me of this. And there was a whole bunch of people around us, and we were, maybe that's where we traveled to when we went to the portal. I don't know. We um, we were there, and what I observed, there were more details. I don't remember them because this was at 3 o'clock in the morning. And instead of getting up and writing the dream down or whatever, I went back to sleep. I fell into a slumber. So I lost some of the detail. There were much more detail. But what I do remember is that the local native of that location had very strange physical abilities. They dress in this kind of wool clothing that were very bright, like red with yellow and green and blues. And then they wear a hat that was kind of like wrapped around their head. But the physical ability they had is that they were hopping on top of the snow. They didn't sink in, and they were hopping, meaning they would jump and leap like, easily 200 feet, either up or down the mountain. And they would hop, like climb it like 1, 2, 3. And I woke up from the dream. Now, climbing dreams or dreams of elevating or you is basically going into higher dimensions. Dreams when you're traveling by train, or you're walking on the road, or you're on a motorcycle or a taxi or a bus, that's you're going parallel, horizontal. It's parallel world. So both dreams are connecting to an ascension or elevation of some kind. I am beginning now to think that the first dream, because there are multiple levels of understanding of the first dream. The first one being that, first of all of the student that I saw there is my ascension bodies. You were all there, and we are trying to enter this vortex for ascension. And there are resisting forces, Zerapin, Dweller, whatever you want to call it, that are trying to stop us from doing what we're supposed to do. On a different level, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a asteroid or interstellar body, a gigantic piece of rock that's shaped it's several miles long, that's traveling from outside of our solar system, that came from outside our solar system and entered in, and it's behaving in very strange ways, because a lot of scientists are saying this is not just a meteorite, because it seems to have its own propulsion system. Some scientists are saying it's actually a spaceship. And this thing is, the reason for this is as follows. When a normal a meteorite is coming, they pass a planet. The planet's gravity pulls them and loops them around a few times before they move on. This is not happening with this interstellar body. It appeared to have its own propulsion because it changed its acceleration. When it passes these interstellar bodies, let's say, for example, Pluto, Neptune, all these places, it actually continues to accelerate. The gravity is not touching it. So it's approaching Earth. Now, 2 years ago, in the yearly channeling from the Galactic Region Council, so it would be December of 2023 or January of 2024, there was a channeling in which one of the predictions for the future was that there was an interstellar body or an asteroid that was going to come so close to the Earth that it would be us that would have to create a vortex and a beyond time and space experience to avoid a major catastrophe. I wondered if this is not what this is. At the time, it was a wild shot. No such thing was around coming toward the Earth. I just scribe and channel what I channel. Now, this is approaching, I'm beginning to make the connection. Now, going back to the first idea, the first idea of a alien ship, if it is an alien ship and it's coming toward the Earth, maybe that's what the dream is about. It's a perception of a first contact with an extraterrestrial race. Any questions, any comments?
I did have one. It just left my mind. Where to go? Oh,
Do you mean to say it's a new race?
I didn't see their face.
No, a new race. Because the aliens come and go all the time. We just don't see them, right?
No, in this instance, that stellar body that's coming, plus scientists see it. It's just the speed and the behavior. 50% of it cannot be a stellar body because it's behaving completely against all of these things.
Mm-hmm. So it's a big alien ship?
They don't know. Some scientists are saying there's a possibility. It's miles and miles long. It's not small. It's like a gigantic cigar, but it's big.
Yeah.
well, maybe that's what we need, an alien race to come to unite us all in the fear of an outer, of maybe enemy.
Well, I don't know how well that, the powers beyond Earth would particularly now would capitalize on this and make this another fear mongering to release army and declare martial law.
Oh, yes, yes.
It could escalate. It could be going to a different direction.
Well, I think you said that this was going to be the beginning of the trials and tribulation period. So, or we've already started, but escalating for the next few years. I think in one of your channelings, I'm not sure which one.
Yes.
So perhaps it is.
Yes. But I woke up from both times completely like shocked, like what? Like I didn't expect this. And it's always early morning. The first part of the sleep is fine. It's because in early morning, that's when you have the longest rapid eye movement period. And that's when most of the deeper dream happen. And I want to talk about also a section of the dream that talks about time, particularly going back in time where this man we went to in 1943 knew we were coming and we were 7 hours earlier. In the dream, I sense if we had arrived 7 hours late, we would have been blocked from actually using the gate or the doorway he was creating for us. Also, I remember Janice had put a post, shared a post about the quantum entanglement of two proton, and I'm very briefly describe it for anybody else. No one else has read it. That scientists discovered that two quantum proton that were entangled, they measured the first proton, charges and everything else, all physical properties, etc., and then they wrote it down. Then they went in and looked at the second proton and they did all kinds of things to it to change its status. And then they recorded what the final results. When they compared the two, it appeared that the first data that they wrote for the first particle somehow had anticipated the change that the scientists were going to do to the second one because they're exactly the same. Either that the second particle went back in time and changed the data and therefore changed the scientists and caused them to write something different, or that the first protocol is so entangled that it predicted the behavior of the scientists and the change they were going to make, and sensed it and therefore made the two protocol in sync. This is a paradox. It's a quantum. It's a time entanglement. And I sensed something like this was happening with that statement that this man made. Like he was aware we were coming. Because if you're using a time portal, there was no way he would have known that we were coming. But somehow he knew. And he not only did he know, but he knew we were 7 hours earlier. And I want us to be aware of this, because as we ascend, as we continue to do this great work, we are going to be faced with all kind of strange paradox. And it's actually very beautiful as well to know, for example, particularly with the generational curse, that we are capable of going back in time and fixing it. By fixing the present and dealing with the present and changing the status of the present and doing the healing and the repair, the past get changed. This is powerful. This is scientific proof of that.
It's fascinating, and it makes great sense. If time is only a construct of man, that man is created, doesn't really exist. We should be able to transit to multiple different times that
Yes.
and I don't mean necessarily even now physically, but or perhaps as well physically, but I've experienced time when I just decide I'm going to go back so many months or years or whatever and review what's going on at that point with a new perspective. And it seems very real to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, and as a matter of fact, it is real. And if you make changes at that moment and you have insight, and you said, okay, that was a false belief. That was, if I were to experience this, this is what I would do, and this is the new commitment that I'm making to God, where this were to present itself. This is the way I'm going to be. You, as you do this, you heal, you repair deep things, deep things, and
And
you.
that changes the timeline back in your generation, anyway, of your lineage, 7 years or more at least. So, in a sense, you are changing the past.
Yes. Yes, and I have to tell you, I am convinced the dream that I had when I went back and my grandmother pointed out whatever mashigas, because I grew up in Voodoo Island and there were lots of dark things that were being done. And I discovered, and the crazy thing is that it was a family member that did this. And I discovered it and I undid what was supposed to. I know for a fact that everyone in my family that was connected to this are all going to be healed. I
It's,
know this.
wow.
There is no question about it. Because whatever was done did not kill us, but it basically clouded our ability. It confused our karma. It created obstruction. It created obstacles for years. For now, my grandmother's generation, my mother's, and our generation, 3 generations. So we need to understand time, and this is all part of because if 4D is the understanding and the mastery of time, so we need to understand these things. It's understanding time in a completely different way, and not seeing it as a linear thing. Remember, we talked about the X, Y, and Z axis of being on First Avenue and Second Street. I have three coordinates that can tell me where I'm standing in that corner, in the southeast corner, and I'm standing there and all that. But not only do I have an X and Y axis, but I have also a height. And the height could be that there's a building there, or there's a ladder, and I'm standing on top of a ladder, or I'm in the subway, I'm standing all the way down in that same corner. But the time part is extremely important, and that's where the 4D comes in. When was I standing in that corner? What moment in time? Because if it's the wrong time, and let's say, for example, I tell you to meet me there, and I'm there, as this man said, 7 hours earlier, you're not going to meet me. Do you understand?
Right.
So it's important for us to understand that time, the fourth dimension, is that time is extremely important. And the mastery of that time, space-time continuum becomes the key to the fourth dimension.
Is the fifth dimension space?
It's the fourth dimension is space-time. It's the space coordinate connected to time, and time becomes
I see.
an additional axis to it. The 50 is a deeper understanding of time, meaning it's not just the moment in time, it's understanding time as a loop.
So you see the initiation to
The
the
beginning and the everything becomes like a paradox. Everything is together.
uh-huh. I see. Huh.
And 60 is even deeper understanding of time.
Well, it sounds like time is more important than just an arbitrary construction of man.
No, it's not. It's not. Well, we are all subject to it in 3D.
Because everything is happening all at once, really, isn't
That's
it?
correct. That's correct. But consciousness is organizing them in linear fashion for us to process it the right way. But in truth, everything is happening all at once, but we're experiencing it in this one first, that one second, and the one third. But it's not the way consciousness is experiencing. In the quantum world, first of all, there is no real particle. It's just space. What actually exists, it's when things are connected together, it's actually electrical bonding in space that make things appear to be an atom or a proton or an electron.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at them at a deeper level, it's just space. So it is an illusion. Time, space, or illusions. They are constructs that our consciousness have created for us to embody and remove shame.
I thought there was a wave.
They are wave. They are wave. Well, there are multiple theories now. You have to understand something. Because of the Webb telescope and all the new data we have now, physics is our understanding of the universe is being thrown out completely. Theory of relativity doesn't work anymore because, again, just following science very recently, Webb telescope has taken pictures so detailed that when the universe was 280 million years old, which was at the time, if the Big Bang had just happened, everything was just gas. There were no physical galaxies in our universe already created. Yet at that time, for the picture taken, they saw 3 or 4 different galaxies that were completely fully formed. It's not possible. And what scientists are saying now, either the Big Bang theory is completely incorrect, or that these other galaxies, those all fully formed galaxies, were actually coming from a parent universe. And that the universe is cyclical and repeats itself.
Wow.
Do you understand? And that goes along what I know. And that's the Melchizedek teaching. Remember,
maybe it's the observer that created those 3 images of the galaxies.
And now that they understand, now the observer is opening up to more stuff. Let me just say this before we go into this. We know that there are multiverses. We know from the teaching of Melchizedek that there is a cluster of Melchizedek and there are multiple universes that were created before. So um, in the understanding that we have right now, we know, for example, that the universe is the parent. They are saying now that we appear, meaning all universe appear to exist in a gigantic black hole, and we are the white hole that ejected from the white hole and that created this universe. And there was a parent universe before that where time is going in reverse. Sadhguru has made multiple statements about the same thing. I remember telling you about 2 weeks ago, I had a different dream. I'm sorry for the dreams. I apologize. I had a different dream in which I saw 4 gigantic snakes. One that looked almost like a dragon. The scales were so heavy and it had 2 horns. And it was slithering in this room. There were all these objects. It looked very, very, very old, very, very old with 2 horns. And then after that, I saw 2 or 3 other snakes that were more like not cobras, but boas that were really big, but they seemed dead and they were hanging. I was hanging them on a rod or something on them. And I woke up from the dream, not understanding what the dream actually meant, until I spoke with Georgie, who's from Indian tradition, to tell me it's the Nagas. The Nagas, or according to Hindu tradition, are ancient dimensional beings. They are not from our world. They come from a different dimension, a different world. And they are snake-like beings that are called, okay, the king of the Naga is called Sheshak. Sheshak is the snake that's around Shiva's head, the cobra. The name actually translates as the remainer, the balance that remains after mathematical or spiritual operation. It is believed that the king of the Nagas is the remainer from a previous universe that Lord Shiva used to create this universe. And this got repeated, according to Sadhguru, so far 84 times. Actually, of the Nagas, there are 12 kings, 12 kingdoms. And according to Sadhguru, the last 4 still have physical remainers that can be seen, but the other one are so deeply spiritual, you can feel intuitively where they are, but you cannot physically see them. And this is what's happening with the James Webb telescope. So our understanding of space-time and our understanding of our universe, and again, I have said this before since 2007 when I started teaching, that the universe is actually in our linear time, is not physical manifestation, 900 billion years old. But the physical universe we exist in, according to the science that we know now, and I knew I couldn't say. People attacked me because of this. And I kept telling them the science doesn't exist yet to prove this, but in my lifetime, you will begin to realize I was correct, which was the universe, our universe is being created, the Big Bang happened only 14 billion years ago. How can you say 900 billion years? It's because this thing has been repeated multiple times. So physical manifestation began at that point, the first Big Bang.
Oh. Is that the detonation of the receiver with the Big Bang?
Yes. So, but creation, so the best way to describe all of this is that this idea of the concept of the giver and the receiver. Okay, before I answer this, remember Melchizedek? We talked about the cluster of Melchizedek. Each universe had a different Melchizedek.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, each previous 84 universe had a different 84 Melchizedek, and all of them belong to the cluster of Melchizedek. Some of these universes are completely ascended. Like our previous universe is ascended. And the in fact, Ascended Master Adonis, which is one of the Galactic Region Council, is not from our universe. He's from the previous universe. And our Melchizedek, when he was about to manifest and create the detonation to create our universe, asked him to come in because he was a great teacher on how to become a logos.
Hmm.
And he said yes.
So the Melchizedeks create their universe.
The Melchizedek created universes in general. To our language, Melchizedek could be, in an Indian teaching, Melchizedek could be replaced by Shiva. Because according to Indian teaching, Shiva created everything. And he created everything by a dance. Shiva is actually very terrifying as well as a being, because once he begins to dance, you have to be very careful because he could create and uncreate in a blink.
Hmm.
Many years ago, I'm talking about maybe 3 years ago, I had this dream that I was sitting in a courtyard and there were beautiful paving and there was gigantic stone paving, and there were beings that were extremely important with headpieces and robe, and they were sitting on throne all around, and all of us were watching a beautiful young man, maybe no more than 14, in the middle doing this dance. I've never seen anybody dance like this in my entire life. And I didn't have a physical corporal body. In the dream, I was like a ghost, or that was, and I kept on circling around him, thinking to myself, I've never seen anybody dance like this. I didn't understand the dream. The dream had a lot more to begin with. When I woke up from the dream, I felt like there was an eraser, that somebody was trying to deliberately erase the memory. And the only part I caught was the last piece, because I could feel like the memory was getting erased. And the last piece, I grabbed it. I said, no, I'm not going to forget this. And I understood from that point that from talking to Georgie said it's the dancing Shiva. Most people see Shiva in meditation, because Shiva is so big. When he wakes up, he can change things automatically, and most of the time he's meditating. According to the Hindu tradition, the Vedic tradition, he created everything in this entire world, in this entire universe. Most of the time, his eyes are closed. He has the cobra around him. He's beautiful. He's standing, and most of the time he's in meditation. Any other questions or comments?
I just want to go back to the detonation of the receiver.
Yes.
When that, whatever explosive action was, that
It
the
must have been the first
very,
universe.
the very first
Yes.
universe. So was there a Melchizedek for that?
Yes.
Ah,
The detonation would have to have happened through the Melchizedek, because that order. Okay, the way you have to remember that the giver is the unmoved mover, and however things could get, in order for things to get manifested physically, part of itself become Melchizedek.
oh, I see. Would that be God if we call whatever the immensity of that um, force, whatever is God? It seems so limited just by that word, but was the giver God?
the the giver, I don't know how to describe this. The giver was not, well, you could call it God, I suppose, uh, but the term that I like to use is benefactor.
Was there a God outside of the
There was
giver?
nothing else outside the giver.
Uh-huh.
Nothing else existed.
So this was the creator, the benefactor, the creative force of all.
Yes, one can call it the nothing that manifested everything.
Uh-huh. There's so much to know.
Yes, 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 yes. So, as far as we're concerned in the path that we're on, and all of us doing this group ascension work, be aware of this thing, of the dreams. Your dream time is going to change. Be aware also of, and if you need to do the Archangel Michael, so do it to protect yourself, to guide you, and to remove all of the shackles, depending on where. It's the kind of karma that you have. If you are connected to a place that had magic and all that, you're going to have to create defense and wall and ask for help. If you grew up around an area where that did not happen, the Archangel Michael's sword could still help you untangle um, uh, uh, other kind of generational curse and things that may not be accessible to you at this time, like family secrets, things that people are kept from you, who somehow have created a shadow that has overshadowed your entire family lineage over multiple generations. As you ascend, you have to terminate all these karmas. They have to close. So doing this helps you have the lucidity and the clarity to see it.
Mhm.
And it shows up, and you're able to see it.
There are a lot of tools. At times, it feels a little overwhelming to
Yes,
try to decide which one is the right one for today, for
yes,
this time. And I feel sometimes it's a hard choice. But
yes. Well, follow your intuition. If you want to go in meditation and you ask, when you connect with your indivisibility, with your creator or with God, and you realize, after I'm not connected, and you ask, and you got a sense that this is not for you, will know what you're supposed to do.
okay.
That energy system is so immense and so all-knowing, it will tell you what you're supposed to do. Do this, that, and then that's what you do.
Because at this point, it's a very individual. Yes, it's a group ascension, but it's a very individual growth
Well, yes,
development, right?
because the kind of karma I have to terminate is not this, I have to reconcile, it's not the same as yours.
Right.
And therefore, how I act, how I behave is not a cookie cutter. It has to be customized to my own needs and my own, the stuff around me. Let's say, for example, you know that you have all these magical stuff that are around you in your past, in your family history. Do the Archangel Michael sword with that purpose, not just specifically for any dream or whatever, but to terminate the karma with that connects you to that, all that dark magic self. Whatever the karma is, help me terminate it. The clearer you are in your intention to what you want, the more effective the prayer is.
I just wanted to make one comment. If you brought up a memory of something you said earlier in your dream about witches.
Yes,
What we are doing today in the 1600s in this country would have been called witchcraft.
yes,
So what is witches? What's a witch? in your dream, maybe it had some different connotation. Certainly, where you grew up, any number of practices then would have probably been called witchcraft for sure. But are we witches? Maybe ourselves, because we are just outside of the common paradigm.
Well, this is why in the dream people were after us and we had to escape to that vortex. Whatever we were doing and we were attempting to do, it was against the norm, and we had to escape in the dream. But to my mind, I don't have a problem with witchcraft if this is your belief system, your religion. Just don't try to curse me.
Oh my goodness.
Did you understand?
I'm not saying that
No, 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 no,
witchcraft
no,
is
no, no,
fine.
no. I'm not. It's not addressed at you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this because of where I grew up in. Okay. When I mean witches, I mean people who practice an art or a devotion where they're deliberately trying to interfere with other people's evolution or growth by
Oh,
by magically bounding them, cursing them, hurting them for
yeah,
no reason whatsoever because they just can't do it. That's
yeah.
what I grew up around.
Dark black
Yes,
magic, sort of witchcraft, as opposed to good witches.
yes, 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 yes. I don't have a problem with, and I understand. And I've met good witches as good magician and people like this one back home as well. But there were few. I know about 4 or 5 of them that are good people.
Hmm.
But all the other ones, dark, 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 dark. Stay away. The fact that you grew up to be an adult in my small island it's an incredible feat.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that this stuff was not done around you, but you have to struggle. It's like you're caught in a web, and nonetheless, you manage in the cobweb. You manage to escape the cobweb, but the pieces of it still lingers around you and still holds you down.
Hmm.
Now, all of these things, by the way, when they do it, they have timing connected to them. They don't exist at perpetuity. And it so happened that if you do this correctly, there comes a point, particularly these kind of prayers, where all of that, you can be cleansed and purified. And that's the point of ascending, is that when you're going through the process of ascension, all of that stuff will have to drop.
Hmm. And you could call that upon yourself by exploring the darkness, right? It do not have to be in Voodoo Island necessarily, but you could become entrapped in some ways with this
Yes.
darkness, I guess, that would call for um, Michael, the prayer, the process, the protocol to be done too. So I
Right.
guess there are lots of ways that it could be beneficial.
Yeah, I've met several people, actually 3 people in this lifetime that were very young and that were exploring and having conversation with fallen angels.
Hmm.
And they were doing ceremonial magic to invoke them. And I felt very sorry for them. And this is where real wisdom comes in. I couldn't say anything to them that they were doing it wrong because they thought they were right. You know how young millennial are when they're walking around with their righteousness and they think they know everything. And so I couldn't say anything, but I know this is going to create a shackle, an albatross around their neck for multiple lifetimes. And it will take them multiple lifetimes to entangle themselves out of it. And they don't mean well, they don't mean harm. They think what they're doing is righteous and they're doing good with this.
Hmm. How
They're
did
just misguided. They're seriously misguided.
part of the power increase that we are exploring or expecting to come will be dependent on us using it correctly as well.
Correct.
It's like the beyond time and space, you have to be careful when you use that
Yeah.
as as it could backfire, but boomerang, right? If you're not wise about it.
Absolutely. And this is the reason why for all these years, I've asked you to do emotional intelligence work. And I'm very quickly, to get back to this, I'm looking at the time because I want to do a closing meditation for you. Uh, uh, um, the whole point of doing years and years of Dentian and query and inner work and self-reconciliation and all that stuff, it's for us, when the power increase happen, that we don't project into the real world the darkness that's inside of us.
Right.
If
Right.
you're in your dreams, you're having all this darkness and all these things attacking you, if you have the power increase, that crap goes outside.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's released into the world. You need to reconcile that stuff internally first. You need to create internal peace before it happens, otherwise it gets projected in the real world. And now to wrestle it back and put the genie back in the bottle is very complicated.
Mm.
So you're right. That's why I did it, because if many people, there are multiple ascension paths. There are people who are on, and the best way to describe it is like a city that has multiple roads that leads to it. Some roads are slippery, some of them are rocky, some of them are perfectly paved, some of them are grassy, and there are different qualities to each one of them. And some paths are better than others. They are more thorough, more complete. Some paths are more turbulent. Some people do battle to try to get to ascension. And I can tell you, there is no necessity for the battle. You can disagree, okay? And you can have conflict, but you can resolve it without combat.
Mm.
And this is the realization of someone who has wisdom. And you can only achieve that wisdom by learning the higher emotion, instead of trying to survive and basically respond to fire emotion, fight or flight and attack, defense, anger, you know, sex, and maybe if you're lucky, having conditional love. Very few people experience unconditional love, and all the other high emotion, compassion, mercy. Very few people know what that is. They have an intellectual frontal lobe cerebral connection to a word or a definition in a dictionary, but they don't emotionally, viscerally understand what that means inside of them. And that's what the practice of emotional intelligence, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence we've been doing for years has been about. So that we seek and take the higher road after we reconcile the darker part of ourselves. Because everybody have darkness. We all have it. And you cannot amputate it out of your body. It would be it's like cutting your leg or cutting a vital organ. It's necessary. It's part of your spiritual and psychic makeup. But you can connect to the higher aspect of all that darkness, because it serves a purpose. The destroyer is there for a reason. The destroyer helps you when you're creating something new and you have to dig foundation. You have to tap in the destroyer. So everything has a purpose. There are moments you have to lean on that part to do something that's beneficial to the right degree. Like I said before, wisdom is power used rightly. And that's the challenge that's presented to us as we begin our ascension process. We have to learn. And of course, at the beginning, we're going to make mistakes. As you approach ascension, we're all going to make mistakes. And a lot of you are afraid of ascension because of this. And let me just say this. It's not just mistake that you're going to make when you begin to ascend. You're going to also heal. You're going to also repair, not only yourself, but other people. Because the power will allow you to do this. But equally as well, there's going to be some mistakes made, but you're going to learn from the mistakes. Because of all the training that I've given you over all these years, I'm confident of this. You're going to learn. And you're going to make resolution to do these things no more. And this is the way you're going to learn. Anyway, let's stop here and take a 5-minute breaks, and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly, and let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. And the Guardian Alliance of Light approach you, offering to give you their shields of light and protection and a band of neutrality. If you are ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively and let the energy of the first Guardian come in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through you, exiting outside of your head and going to the top of the fourth dimensional body and creating all around you a Torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the second Guardian, cascading down from souls, coming in at the top of the fifth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going to the core of the earth and creating all around you a Torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the third Guardian, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through your core, exiting outside of your head, and going to the top of the sixth dimensional body and creating all around you a Torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the fourth Guardian, cascading down from source, coming in at the top of the seventh dimensional body, moving through your core, passing through you, exiting at the bottom of your feet into the core of the earth, and creating all around you a Torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through you, exiting outside of your head and exiting on top of the eight-dimensional body, creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian coming in at the top of the nine-dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through you, exiting at the top of the 10th-dimensional body, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the eighth guardian coming in at the top of the 11th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and into the core of the earth and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the ninth guardian, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through your central axis, exiting outside of your head into the top of the 12th dimensional body and creating all around you the torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 10th guardian, cascading down from souls, rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the 13th dimensional body, moving through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet and going to the core of the earth and creating all around you the torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th guardian, counter-rotating, beginning in the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through your central axis and core, exiting outside of your head, and into the top of the 14th dimensional body, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 12th guardian, cascading down from souls, passing at the top of the 15th dimensional body, moving through your core, exiting at the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Observe the 12 counter-rotating torsion field and axes that are spinning in your core, connecting you to endlessness. I am indivisible from God. I am indivisible from my Creator. The Mother, Father, and I are one. I am that I am. I am giving and sharing from infinity times infinity. And I am an open valve, outpouring divine blessings. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. Interesting. I had a vision this time different from usual as the torsion fields were being created of whirling dervishes.
Oh my God. Melt them, that's your territory. That's your culture. The Sufis.
It felt it gave new meaning to
I
the.
love the Sufis. They actually connect to divinity. That's the dance
Yes,
to connect with the divine. So that makes sense.
yes,
And we are swirling around on
yes,
another
yes,
hand.
yes,
I
we
mean,
are.
not us, but the torsion fields. So that
Yes,
makes
yes, yes. I have seen, I don't understand this. I've seen a lot of these men online doing
yeah,
dance. They move in one direction and then some of them in the center move in the other direction. It's just
yeah.
amazing, amazing.
I know.
You can
And
feel the
it's like
power.
it's a meditation for them to connect with the divine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw once a group of them came to join the divine one year, and I witnessed them dancing, and they asked us to come in and dance with them.
It's amazing, I know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways,
Rumi was he was not a dervish, but they're Sufis, and Rumi was a Sufi.
yes, exactly. Exactly. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being in my life. I love you so deeply. Subscribe, like this video. Thank you for watching us on Patreon. I love you all, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Love you,
Happy
family.
dreams.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy dreams. Bye.